Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here with my guest, Kelly Dooley. You are in for a treat. We are talking to a fashionista. We are talking to a serial entrepreneur. We are talking to a mom and the founder of Luxe Branding House. And she's an advocate also for mental health awareness and domestic violence awareness. So I am so excited. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi. How are you?
Good. We have known each other for years. And, I've just been always so inspired just to see your growth and what you have created in the world. And everyone's going to want to know, okay, because I advertised it like this, that, you really have couture creations. You've worked with A-list celebrities. You have dressed and really created things for Britney Spears, for Lady Gaga, Pink, Paula Abdul, Juliana Rancic. And I want to ask the questions because I'm sure it's on everyone's mind. Like, how did you get to where you are? And especially, like, how did you create this? How did you get in front of A-list celebrities? We're going to get into all of that. And
okay, great.
Yeah, what keeps you motivated? And then I know you're really, really passionate about helping other people, right? In the fashion world and just in general. So we want to dive into all of that. So let's just kind of start of, I want to learn like a little bit more, like tell everyone kind of how you got started and wherever you want to start and whatever you want to share.
Okay, cool. So to start, I'll provide some information just about my educational background so that, that really underpins like my entire career and everything that I'm about. I'm from Orange County, California, and I went to a very nerdy school called St. Margaret's Episcopal School in San Juan Capistrano, a very small, competitive private school. And I was just always very studious, editor-in-chief of the high school newspaper senior year. And I was just like a full-fledged cool nerd that was just a little different and really funky. And even though I had to wear a uniform, I, pushed every boundary possible. Anyway, so I wanted to be a journalist because I love writing. Writing has always been my thing. So I went to Boston University for undergrad for print journalism. And then I graduated and I realized that I wouldn't be the best journalist because, first of all, there's not a whole lot of integrity in like traditional journalism. So I wasn't really into that. Secondly, they don't make enough money. Like they literally, the starting salary at that time was like $22,000 a year. Like, and that's pre-tax. And the third thing was that I'm really into investigative journalism, and that wouldn't have worked out so well for me because I would have ended up getting killed for, being a whistleblower of some sort. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to become a journalist, but writing is a wonderful tool regardless of what you do in life. And I've always been super entrepreneurial because my dad, he passed away when I was 7, but he had his own business and it still exists in Anaheim called Dooley Enterprises. And my mom, very entrepreneurial as well. She was in wholesale distribution for swimming pool supplies, and it was also a labor and delivery nurse. So then I wanted to go to New York University, and ever since I was 7, which was the first time I went to New York City, I wanted to live in New York City when I was a grown up, and I was going to go to New York University. That was just going to happen regardless. That was part of my path. And so I applied. I remember I was working right after I graduated early from BU, and then I moved back to California for a year, worked for a glue company called Aqua Bond. I sold epoxy, and my nickname was the Bond Girl. And then I applied to New York University's program in the Steinhardt School of Education for social media. It was a media culture and communication studies was the program. And what I loved about it was that the core curriculum was really interesting to me, but I could create essentially my own core focus. And so it wasn't like a minor, it was like the emphasis or concentration. So my concentration was in social media and luxury consumption. So it was really cool because I just learned all about every aspect of branding and social media and truly immersed myself in not only New York City, but around the world. I studied abroad in China in both Hong Kong and Beijing, where I studied through NYU, where I studied globalization from an Asian perspective. I studied in Montreux. I studied in Paris. So through that, I really, and just being like a lover of luxury consumption and being, into social media at the time, Facebook was the thing. Instagram didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've always been a visionary. And so I just knew that social media and luxury consumption was a very good path for me to pay for myself. I didn't know what I was going to do with it at this point, but I knew it was going to, it fueled me and I was passionate about it. So I graduated from NYU a semester early and I had a lot of spare time on my hands. And so I started the gym Equinox Fitness. At the time I was living on 36 in Madison in New York City, and Equinox Fitness, where I was a member. I said, you know what, I'm going to work there. So I applied and I was hired as a membership advisor, which I just did to, basically stay busy, meet people, have fun. And then I had a New Year's resolution. This was in 2008. I decided that I wanted to run a marathon in 2009. And so I trained throughout 2008. And then throughout my training program, I would, run in Central Park. And I noticed, whenever I was running, obviously in the heat, where do you put your money in like your apartment? If you put it in your bra.
Yeah.
I remember one day I was so thirsty. So I went to like the hot dog stand in Central Park when I'm running to buy a water, and I take my money out of my sports bra and it's like all wet. And then you give the wet money to the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And so I kept having this recurring issue. And then when it was time to go to the actual race, like a couple weeks before, of course, I was trying to get my outfit together. So I wanted to make sure that I felt like myself, and workout clothes at the time. I mean, this was like, way before like the athleisure era like took over. It was still, cute activewear was like not a thing. Like if you finding Nike at Nordstrom's was the extent to which you would find something like cute. And I'm like totally not a Nike girl. So I wore Ed Hardy all the time to the gym. That was my thing, but not appropriate for a marathon. So anyways, I was looking for my outfit and I couldn't find anything. I even went to Gucci and got a fanny pack. I did some trial and error with that when I was running around. It was flopping around. I'm like, that's not going to work. So I get down to the race, Walt Disney Marathon, and I'm at the expo to pick up my race number and race packet. And then I'm looking around. I'm like, I bet I could find a sports bra here with a pocket. I wanted a sports bra with a pocket so that I could put everything that I needed in it, my Motrin, my hotel key, my license, my health insurance card, everything. And so I couldn't find anything. So then I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to create my own brand. So I ran the race and I looked cute. I wore a pair of Nike capris and this camo Nike sports bra. But it wasn't really me. And I'm like, there has to be other women like me who love fitness and fashion and who don't want to sacrifice one for the other. And I had just inherited some money from my grandparents who had passed away. So I had seed capital to, spend basically a year to launch my brand. And so my goal, once I got back from the race, was to launch exactly 1 year later after the marathon. So the entire 2009, I spent developing the brand from A to Z, the brand story. I still have my sketchbook. I hired an artist named Ben and Jody, who's from Brooklyn, and he created all the sketches and everything. And the four first collections, there were 12 bras in my first collection, and there were 4 different SKUs, and then there were 3 colorways within each style. So there was lock them down, keep them in, show them off, and zip them up. And all the bras were named after different friends and people have inspired me. My mom. There was the jazz bra named after my like BFF forever, who's was like the maid of honor in my wedding. She's my daughter's godmother. She's like my ride or die. There was the Jan bra, which is my mom. There was the Kelly bra, which was me. There was the Giselle bra, who was a girl that I studied abroad with in Switzerland, who was just like this fabulous little Latina with curly hair and was an artist. Like I love Giselle. And so the brand was meant to be all about just really loving the skin you're in, and based on the concept that you look good and feel good. And I wanted bras that could be worn from day to night. And so that regardless of whether or not you were, at the gym taking a class or running a marathon, or, you wanted to go out on a date or whatever, you'd be able to wear the same bra and get your return on the investment essentially. Mm-hmm. So the first collection launched exactly in January of 2010. And 6 months prior to that, I hired a PR firm so that we could create buzz. Before, no one knew who I was. I remember when I filed for my trademark, Body Rock, I couldn't do because it was a little too generic. So then I added Body Rock Sport, and then there are a couple other companies called Body Rock, and so I had to add by Kelly Dooley. And I remember my older brother, who, I love him, but he's a bully. He was like, "Why would you add your name to it? Like, no one knows who you are. Like, you're a loser." And da, da, da. And I was like, well, no one knows who I am yet, but I'm gonna brand myself. And so that's exactly what I did. I created my signature look, which I'm sure you recall, with the signature ponytail with the pompadour and the hot pink lipstick and all that. And that was literally my New York City uniform. I wore that all the time with my designs, the bras, my big pink fur. So it's like no matter where I was going, people knew it was Kelly. Like, oh, Kelly, Kelly, Kelly. So then the bras launched. My first big placement was Women's Wear Daily, like the first week that I launched, which was a huge deal. And then from there, I just was getting endless press because people were thinking, like, who is this woman designing these crazy bras? And I remember that one of my first press placements, like shortly after the Women's Wear Daily one, it was in Glamour, but it was online. And there were like 4 pictures of my bras. And the question was, would you wear this bra? And like a bunch of the girls responded, "Oh yeah, that's so adorable." And then a bunch of them like, "Oh God, no, that's so tacky." And, da, da, da. And I remember my feelings were so hurt. I'm like, why are these girls saying that my bras are tacky? They're so cute. And so anyways, I definitely had my niche market for sure. And so what was also super unique when I first launched is I spent a lot of money, too much money. I didn't know what things cost at the time. I was only 26,
Yeah.
So, I was really into the packaging. I got these velvet bags made for the bras so that, with the Body Rock logo on it, so that regardless of whether or not you're putting your bra in it, it's the type of bag that women keep. I mean, we keep things like that. If you're going to put jewelry in it or tchotchkes or change or whatever the case may be, you're going to keep that bag. Yeah. And each purchase came with a note card that was like really nice, like double stock paper, and it had gold foil on it with the logo, and it said thank you in cursive. It said, "Thank you for your purchase. Now go rock your body," with my lips smooch scanned onto it, and XO Kelly. So each order came with the bra, the bag, and the note card. So in the Facebook era, this was pretty cool because women were so amazed by the packaging that they would put it on their Facebook, and they would, pin it. Pinterest was the other thing, Pinterest and Facebook. And so, they would put up the notebook or put up pictures of the bra or the bag or whatever the case may be. And also I was like, I was customer service. I was, it was a one woman show for the most part. I even had a couple alter egos pretending I was someone else at the beginning, So anyways, I would get an order and I would be online, and I got these special shelves so that I could store the bras. So I had in my little 819 square foot condo, I'd get an online order and I'd, leap to the freaking shelf. So excited. I just got an order. And then I would send it out, and I did a bunch of trunk shows. But the thing that really made my brand different from the jump was 3 things. One, it was the fact that it was a novelty product in an oversaturated market. And so although it was during the recession, I remember a lot of people asking, like, why did you start a brand during the recession? Well, because working out is recession proof. Fitness and drugs and alcohol are all recession proof. And so even though during a recession, although you might stop spending money on a luxurious vacation, you're still going to go to the gym, because you need that serotonin so that you're not depressed. And so the second reason was because of the purpose. It really was all about female empowerment. I had a whole campaign called Body Rocker of the Month, where each month women could submit photos of themselves in one of my designs. and they had to answer 3 questions, basically like where they were from, how they rock their body, and what their favorite piece is. And then every month I would select a winner, and then that winner would be posted all over social media for the month, and they would get a complimentary item of their choice. So that was really cool because once again, we're in the Facebook era. And so women felt so special. I mean, they didn't know that, I was running this company out of my apartment, and that it was like a one woman show. So they would post it all over social media and feel, they felt valued and noticed and understood, and also celebrated for the diversity. And so I think that was one of the other really important components as well. Was the brand was all about diversity. Like I had Black models, white models, Asian models, RIT models, more normal looking models, thin models, like all different types of models. And so I think the inclusivity, was, no, I don't think it was an eye catcher. And then also a lot of moms, like, there are a lot of female, like, boss bitch women, like, for lack, sorry for saying boss bitch, but that's what they were. Most
Yeah.
were total boss bitches. Like they were babes, they're women who have, multiple businesses and kids and, careers, and they take good care of their bodies. And a lot of cover girls, a lot of the isogenics girls and fitness competitors, like I would do all the trade shows. But the third reason I would say was because of the packaging. The packaging was just, I was ahead of the curve. Like you would have thought it was like Net-a-Porter or like Bergdorf Goodman's, not just this, little brand that had just launched. So those 3 things really enabled me to create a presence very quickly. But what happened that really made it go viral, this is where my educational background comes into place. I'm really good at viral marketing. So one day I was on my way to Boston to do a trunk show. I used to model for a brand named Daniela Corte, and she still exists. I love Daniela Corte. Her brand is still popping. It's mostly bespoke, custom made stuff in Boston, but she does have a store as well. And she's also super into fitness. So I did some trunk shows with her and stuff like that. And then when I was on the bus, I think I took the Bolt bus. It's probably like $30 or something like that. And when I was on the bus, I had this idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to create the world's most expensive sports bra. And which is funny because, I was on the bus.
Yeah.
In retrospect, it's quite hilarious. Like here, I'm on this bus having this crazy idea, but I knew that if I created this bra, that it would get so much press coverage. I just had no idea how much. So I got back to New York a couple days later, and then I collaborated with a jeweler that I had been working with, and I was his muse. I modeled for him in a lot of his campaigns and stuff, named Knight and Hammer by Joseph Knight. And we designed this bra together, and then I didn't have the budget to hire a model, so I just had a photographer just photograph me in it. And before about a month later, if that, my boobs were plastered all over the world in the Trenta bra. And I remember my ex-husband and I were in the Hamptons for my birthday. I think it was my 27th birthday, and my phone just was like going crazy. It's like Google alerts. The bra completely went viral. It was crazy. It was everywhere. It was LA Times. It was all over the radio. I mean, I was being interviewed like from all these different publications, like about why I created this bra, what my inspiration was. Like I had customers that would be on like Singapore Airlines, and they would see the bra like in the airline magazine. Like it was literally everywhere. It was so crazy. So I was like, wow, I'm really onto something. And my intention was not to get people to buy the Trenta bra. My intention was for them to go be directed to my website, so that then they would see all my other bras. And then that bra, the first bra I did, that the Trenta bra, was $1,850. I surpassed that with my next design, which was the $20,000 Britney Spears bra. But the 1851, when the other bras were $70 to $95 was the average price of the other bras. that sounds pretty cheap in comparison to 1850, right?
Yeah.
But at all the other bras that were out at the time, like Nike and Lululemon, the average cost was $40. So one of the objections I always got, well, all of these are so expensive, but I'm like, yeah, but it's like 2 for 1 because you're getting the versatility that, you know, none of these other designs offer. But that was like my number one objection was the price. So I'm like, okay, well, they're not going to be complaining about the price if they, you know, see this bra and then it's only $70 for this bra.
Yeah.
And so that was extremely effective. So then I started to get a lot of traction. And then that summer, I came out with a bra called the Sophie Bra, which was basically part of my fall collection. And that was a print that had been pitched to me by the manufacturing broker that I worked with. It was like this pink ditzy print. And it, honestly, like, I'm not really into floral prints that much. So it wasn't really me, but I was like, you know what, we're going to make this cool. So let's do it. So we did like black top stitching on it. And then this is part of the Zip 'em Up collection bra, which was the #1 selling collection. BR4 was the style number. And we put gold studs on the piping, alternating with fuchsia Swarovski crystals. And also I only used Swarovski. Like I did not cut any corners when it came to the quality of any of the components. And so then the Sophie Bra, we produced it. I think I made three to 400. I was my MOQ, probably 300. And it sold out very quickly. That was the most popular bra in my regular collection. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. So then that bra went viral. It was Kendall Jenner was wearing it.
Wow.
All Juliana Rancic, like it was everywhere. And then I remember in 2000. Right now we are in 2010 right now.
Oh, 10. Yeah, yeah.
We're about to go into 2011. 2011, the Sophie Bra is still reigns supreme. So I have to keep reproducing this bra every single season. I need more Sophie Bras. And so that was pretty amazing. So throughout 2011 was still very much a building year. And also there was not what was I going to say? There wasn't any space in stores yet. Like that was not a category. You could not go to Saks Fifth Avenue and talk to a buyer and convince them to purchase Body Rock because there was nowhere to put it. There was not an activewear section. There were no other brands that were doing what I was doing. The only other cool brand at the time, which I'm actually wearing right now for my leggings, is called Mishi. And the owner of that company, her name is Michelle. It's a Canadian brand. It's still my favorite activewear brand to date. Just very well made, really flattering, nice thick waistbands. Just it's a perfectly manufactured brand. It's beautifully designed. And Michelle, the owner, is also a mom. I think her child is like, she has a daughter who's like 2 or 3 now. I follow her on Instagram. But anyway, so wherever I was doing a trunk show, Mishi would always be there too. Like we were always on the same floor space. So even if she wasn't there, her products were there. So I'm like, okay, this is like a niche, you know? And we were not competitors because our brands were so different. It was more complementary. And so kind of like a delicious entree where it's like, you're going to have your steak and your potatoes, you know?
Yeah.
So, all the online PR and all the PR I was getting was super crucial because there were no stores that were carrying it. And so retail, was not a thing. So therefore online sales were everything. And that was my goal anyways, because your margin's so much higher if it's online. My cost for the Sophie Bra, excluding shipping from the manufacturer, was $17.50 per bra.
Wow.
And that does not include, shipping of the garment. I also had free shipping. That was a huge incentive for people. And I sold them for $70 each. And so, my margin was very good compared to if I did wholesale, which I did. The Equinox stores most of the Equinoxes carried my brand, but 4 in particular sold a lot of them in New York City and also Equinox in Newport Beach. And I also did a national tour. I did trunk shows in Chicago, Texas, etc. And wholesale was $35.
Wow.
And so the margin was much lower, and you have to wait like 30 to 60 days to get paid. So I was like, oh, online is the way to go. So then, I keep coming out with collections. But then I'd always have like my hit item, the Jessica Moto leggings was the next big thing. But the Sophie Bra got chosen to be on Oprah's O list in 2012. And I remember in July, it was on my manifestation list. It was also right before I got married. I got married July 14th, 2012, not married anymore. Thank God. And that month, July, was unbelievable. I got a letter in the mail from Oprah's O list selecting the Sophie Bra to be featured in the next month's publication. I couldn't believe it. So not only was it in print, but it was also online. And so I got so many orders. It was like unbelievable. But the sad part is that my manufacturer wasn't prepared for it. So we were having to source like the fabric, and that's when I really started having problems with scaling because I wasn't vertically integrated. I was just a very passionate entrepreneur, funky little designer girl that had an idea and was really into making other women feel good. But I didn't have a strong foundation. It was like built on pebbles because I was reliant on other people. So, it's like if one fabric, like from Colombia, for example, initially I wanted everything to be manufactured in the US, but believe it or not, there's not a lot of fabric mills in the US. So everything has to be outsourced if you have intricate prints, and anything that was a print of mine was intricate. Like I had a lot of wild prints. And so I remember that we were producing the bra in Colombia at one point, and it took forever for the fabric, and then the fabric was a little bit different than the other one, and so it had more stretch, and it wasn't as good as the first one. And so that's when I really started having problems because I was trying to scale the business, but I didn't have the right people in place to do so. But that being said, that was the same time that the Eternal Love bra, the $20,000 Britney Spears bra, I created that bra right before my wedding. And that's why the price, it was actually like, I think it was actually like $2011. And I did that for 2011. So that's why I did like that. Collaborated with the same jewelry designer, Knight and Hammer. And then Britney Spears, she ended up wearing it because I had a PR firm in LA that was not only a PR firm, but they're also a pull room to where stylists can come in and, rent items for different shoots and stuff like that. So I had a whole rack in there. I paid $4,500 a month to be there, which at the time was, a lot, but it was a worthwhile investment to do that. And so Britney Spears ended up wearing that with my Jessica Moto leggings in her Twister dance video, which was so huge because the year before she had shaved her head. Remember that?
Yes.
So, yeah. So when she was then in the Twister dance video, rocking my Moto leggings and the bra, it represented a huge comeback for her from her previous, mental breakdown the year before, which we all now understand very well. If you've been following, Spears, free Britney. So now she is, now it's been beautiful to see this, even though I know there's still some weird things going on with her, you can tell. But I do feel that she has entered a new cycle of her life at the same exact time that I have. So it's pretty cool to, be part of her journey through my design. She's worn several of my designs. I'm sure she still has them somewhere. And so, so the Britney Spears thing was huge. At the same time, I was also I didn't mean to become a reality TV star, but that's what happened. At the same time as my wedding. So that helped me as well. To give a little snippet about that. I got my wedding dress at Kleinfeld's Panina Tournay. My mom was adamant about me getting this particular dress. She saw it online somewhere. And so I had scheduled a trunk show. This was in 2011, January 30th of 2011. And so I went. My mom flew out to New York. She lived in California, still does. And we went to the trunk show, and they had the silver runway, one of a kind Panina Tournay dress. And I put it on, and it was perfect. It was short in the front, long in the back. It was silver. I mean, it definitely was not, everyone's cup of tea. Like, I have a different sense of style, but it was so me, and it fit like a glove. It was one of a kind, and it was $34,000. So I was like, and my veil was like $7,000. I'm like, Mom, this is like a lot of money. She's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. So we get the dress, and then I was in Miami doing. This is a couple months later. I was in Miami doing a Miami South Beach triathlon, and so when I was down there, I got an email from the uh, producer for the show called Say Yes to the Dress, which I had never watched because I'm not a TV girl.
Right.
If I did watch TV, I was watching Law and Order. Okay?
Yeah.
I watch SVU, Criminal Intent, and the regular one that on repeat. That was
Yeah.
and Dexter. I love Dexter. All these morbid shows.
Yeah.
That's what I was watching. And so the lady, her name was Ginny. She's like, "Hi, Kelly. My name is Ginny from Yard. I think it was called Yard something Productions. We are a producer for this show called Say Yes to the Dress on TLC. We know you look absolutely beautiful in your dress. That when you came in a couple months ago, we would love to film you for Say Yes to the Dress. Call me back if you're interested." And so I'm thinking, so I look it up. I've never seen this show. And then I'm like, but I was interested because Say Yes to Dress means women, and women have boobs, and therefore they're going to buy bras. so, so I was like, okay. So I look it up. I'm like, I'm interested. And I was like, but the thing is, it says you have to apply, and I already have my dress. And they're like, oh, we could stage an episode. So I'm like, okay, I can act. And so that's exactly what we did. So we staged the entire episode. And, I remember Randy, what the host, he had to like act as though he couldn't find the dress when I went.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous. And of course, they loved my bubbly personality. So they really like use that to, portray me in a very inauthentic way. Like I was not happy with the way they portrayed me. They portrayed me as this super like ditzy, snooty little bitch, basically. And I was like, I'm not really into the way that they are perceiving or portraying me, but it made me very famous because it remains to this day like top 10 episodes that they've had. So
Cal, this is like this. You're like you, from what what you're saying. Like how to make things viral. I mean, this is, and I would love for you to talk about a little bit more. And I know we have a couple more minutes because we're going over to.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. There's
no.
A big story.
This is good. I love this, but I want you to like. I want people to know like this. You are such a branding, positioning, genius because you've done it for yourself, and now with Luxe Branding House, you're doing it for others. And like
exactly.
I would love for you to like say the like why you started it.
Oh yes.
So I want you to tell the people like if someone's watching, right, and they're like, I don't know, stuck, or maybe they're like, I want to be, like Kelly, I want to get my brand, is there like 1 to 3 things? I mean, listen, everyone should have been taking notes because I picked up 1 or 3 things in just what you were sharing. But anything that you would say, and then why?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Okay. So Luxe Branding House, it really is the culmination and result of all of my victories and all of what my business partner now and I call blessings, which is a lesson through loss and failure. But I like to say there's no losses, only wins and lessons. So it's a blessing because it's blessed. It's a blessing if you learn from the lesson. Yeah. So, throughout when I started the brand, I was 26, now I'm 40. And, all the trials and tribulations and all the, when you're starting a brand, you have typically a limited budget, like, and what people do in the world of capitalism is they take advantage of, people, they capitalize on vulnerable people who are trying to achieve their dreams. This is rampant throughout the entire world, whether you're in entertainment, whether you're a designer, whether you want to be a model, whether you want to be an actor, whether you want to work on Wall Street, whatever you want to do, people are going to take advantage of you if they characterize you as what is called a walking lick, a target. Yeah. And I was a target. I was the ultimate target because I was so passionate and I was so naive. So as a result, I got screwed over constantly without realizing I was getting screwed over. I remember my first photo shoot was 10 grand for the 12 bras. And I didn't think I didn't know what it cost. I had no idea. So I was like, even though it sounded like a lot, I was like, okay. But it was insane. Like, I cannot believe and that was in 2009. I mean, now that same photographer probably charges like $30,000 for, it was crazy. So, before you know it, you're like out of money. And so Luxe Branding House is really based on the premise that when it comes to branding, there's a fundamental roadmap that you need to follow. And if you follow my formula, from literally A to Z, not only will you create an incredible brand that is going to differentiate you from anything else, in the market that you're in. You find the white space, you create a compelling brand, and you're going to, and you save a lot of money in the process. So not only are you going to achieve your dream efficiently and quicker than you would if you don't follow the process, you are also going to save money every step of the way, because Luxe Branding House offers every single service under the roof when it comes to branding. So everything from the logo design to the branding story, like, it's very, very important to have a brand story, or what I call brand DNA. You want to stay true to that brand DNA no matter what. If you're about to come out with something, and you should have a checklist, a bullet point list of, basically your mission and your own unique brand DNA, just like what makes Kelly, like what makes me, the things that I'm about. I'm into, on a personal level, I'm into fitness, fashion, cooking, helping others. I'm into, my daughter is like my whole world. I'm into traveling. So it's the same when you're creating a brand. What is this brand about? Who are you speaking to? Who's this brand going to resonate with? That is the brand DNA. So through Luxe Branding House, we create for you a brand DNA. You can come to us with the concept, and then we will create everything for you. We do the PR, the marketing strategy, even the drop shipping, the social media campaign, the manufacturing prototypes, like literally the whole shebang. So it's really meant to create help you create an incredible brand so that you can achieve your dreams without emptying your pockets all the way. That's what it's all about.
I love that. And the less, I mean, the lessons, end of lessons, like you've such a career of like, okay, like taking advantage of, and all, like, I love that.
I mean, I've won so much. I've had a lot of incredible victories in my life, but I've also lost a lot. I mean, and naivete has cost me greatly. I mean, it's very, very expensive to be naive and having blind trust in people. Like, absolutely not. Never have blind trust in somebody, especially when it involves spending money on something. Because if they're telling you that, let me give a quick a real life example. So about a month ago, I needed to get all these beautiful chairs in Luxe Branding House clean. Well, I have like 60 Luxe props, by the way. I'll go more into that. But these chairs needed a little cleaning, and so I, got a quote on what it would cost to fix and clean, repair these 20 items that needed to get done. And I was quoted $5,000, and I'm thinking, that's insane. Like, I would rather go get some white out and some paint and do it myself. And so I said, no. I said, I'm not doing that. And so then they come back to me with, they'll do it for $3,000. I said, no. I said, my budget is $2,000. And 2 minutes later, they agreed to $2,000. So I'm like, whoa. So they went from $5,000 to $2,000 in a matter of like 10 minutes. Wow. And so what does that tell you? That says ask. If you do not ask, you're never going to know. So it's super, super important to, when it comes to pricing and stuff, you not only do your research, but ask. Because at the end of the day, I'm thinking, and I remember them saying, oh, well, we're perfectionists. Like, if we do good work. I'm like, well, I would hope so. If you're a furniture repair and upholstery company, you best be a perfectionist. That's a company that requires perfectionism.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you obviously have all the materials that they would need in order to clean this stuff, like some and some paint and whatever else is needed. I'm thinking they can afford $2,000 for the 20 pieces, because all it is labor. So they took the job. So point being, if I had that knowledge now, and also not being afraid to ask. When I was 26, I was afraid to ask. Like, I was super afraid. Now I'm going to ask. I play hardball now. I'm like a master negotiator when it comes to things. I was not like that then. So it's always important to ask. And also, it's also really, really important to, going back to the brand DNA, is don't worry about like validation from others. Like, if you have a brand and you have a really, really strong brand identity, I also call it like a brand USP, it is going to speak to your target demographic. Make sure you define who your target demographic is. That's
Mm.
like super duper important. Like I try one mistake that I made, and maybe it was too early, but with Body Rock, I created a plus size line at one point. I just did it with a couple of the bras. I added, some XXLs and XXXLs, but it wasn't. We weren't where Good American is now.
Yeah.
Like it didn't work. It did not work. It was actually. I still have them.
I feel like that was probably like you were ahead of your
I
time.
was ahead. I was too ahead. I was
Yeah.
way too ahead. And so, I mean, I still have those bras literally
Wow.
at Luxe Branding House. I still have them. I sold like a couple. That was it. Cause it wasn't the way bodies are being celebrated now on Instagram, like with Good American, some of it is a bit too much for me because like you still want to be healthy and you want to promote health. Not, morbid obesity and stuff like that, but at the same time, like the inclusivity is like so like that's what it's all about now.
Yeah.
Inclusivity is everything. I was at the front of that in 2011 2012. So but so point being is I was just all about celebrating women, but in retrospect I never should have done that because I was too ahead. So that was an important lesson. So but everyone is always trying to give their opinions on what you should do. If it goes against your brand identity and what you're branding, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Because what ended up happening with me, well, a lot of things happened, but I over expanded because like everyone wanted me to do this and do that and do the other thing. So I was making like, and all the stuff I made was cool. Like we made socks and all this stuff, but like that was stupid. I should have just stuck to the bras. I was too worried about, getting in these big box retailers. Being in a big box retailer, there's like no plus side to it other than exposure. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
They're infamous for not paying. They're going to give you net 90 terms or whatever. They're going to, like Macy's and stores like that, like they have buybacks. Like they really, 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 really take advantage of new brands. It's really sad. I mean, even though I love Barney's New York and I will forever miss it and it will forever hold a special place in my heart, like Barney's is out of business for a reason. They are infamous for taking advantage of new brands. And they promise you because they know they're Barney's. They're like, oh, we're Barney's, and be here. But then you don't get paid and then you're out of business.
Yeah.
So there's always, it's a double-edged sword. So don't try to impress everyone else. Just make sure that you stick true to yourself and that you speak to your customer and also resonate with them at all times and connect with them. I mean, the reason why social media is so important and so impactful is because everyone is longing for connection with people. Like I have friends through Instagram that I've never met in my entire life. And and I like feel like I know them, and it's awesome. So when you think about how powerful that is, social media is so important. There's been times where, multiple times in the last couple of years where I would like make my profile private on Instagram because I was dealing with various things, but then I would always have to go public again because there are too many people I'm not reaching if my account's private. So, to all my lurkers and stalkers, like I hope you're enjoying watching me. But I have a mission and I've stuck to it my entire career and I'm not stopping now. The other thing with Luxe Branding House, that is super important and that I tell all of my clients and also that, I've done in every brand that I've created is cause-based marketing. So it's always a good idea to have a cause behind what you're doing. So Body Rock, for example, if you look at like the Tom shoe model, we had the empowerment bras, which is the mastectomy bra. My goal was to create the world's first fashionable mastectomy bra, and Juliana Rancic wore it. That was that was an amazing bra. It was really cool. I had 4 different designs named after different survivors that I knew. And each purchase of an empowerment bra, which was $95, one would be donated to American Cancer Society. So that was awesome. I also worked with like a lot of young girls and stuff about, self-esteem and stuff like that. So having the cause is super important, not only because it really evangelizes your brand, but also because it feels good. It feels
Yeah.
good to make a difference, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but I love making a difference.
Yeah.
I love sharing my story. Even if it, you know, if I anything that I post on Instagram, there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Everything I post, there's a reason. And sometimes it's not too often that I go, you know, really, really personal. But when I do, it's because I'm trying to help at least one person. Because if I feel that if sharing my story helps or inspires or is cathartic for at least one person, then my own story is not in vain, right? So I call it a pearl of wisdom. So if I can share my pearls of wisdom with other people, leveraging social media to do so, you best bet your butt I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it. Why wouldn't I?
What?
Like,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand feeling alone. I understand feeling depressed. I understand feeling lost and stuck and not knowing what's next. The most important thing to achieving your dreams, if people always say, "Well, yeah, I'm not ready. How do I get started?" That is like the number. How do I get started? Just start.
Start.
You literally just start. You have to take the leap. The most of society like is so like it's all about the matrix. Like, people are so afraid. They're blocked by fear. Our entire lives are literally um designed around fear. You know, you have to get the 9 to 5 job. You have to get the husband. But I don't know. How old are you, Kelly?
I'm not gonna tell you,
Oh,
but
come on. Are you my age? Are you younger than me?
uh, around the same.
Same generation? Okay.
Yeah,
Same
same
generation. Okay. So our generation, if you didn't get married, if you're a woman and you
Yeah.
don't get married by the time you're 26, you're done.
You're by 30.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it was like, yeah, 30 was the thing. Yeah, 30. And I got married, guess what? 2 weeks before my 30th birthday. I was not going to turn into a pumpkin the day after my 30th birthday by not being married. So, you know, you're supposed to have kids. You're
Yeah.
supposed to have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and you're supposed to get married, and then you get a job. You marry an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, or a dentist, and you live in the burbs, and you get an SUV and maybe one other car, and you live your little life. And then on Fridays it's Friday, and then Saturday maybe you go out, and then Sunday you have to go to church or whatever because you're recovering from the night before, because you know got a little messy the night before, and then it's like repeat, and then you retire, and then you get your 401k, and then you die. That's how our lives are designed. So anyone who's an entrepreneur like myself or like you, think think outside of the matrix, right? Like, I don't need that sense of normalcy because I'm not normal. I've always been unique, and I've always been all about my mission and about impacting others, which I cannot do within the confines of that box that is called life. So yeah, the cause-based marketing is everything. Leveraging social media to get your cause out there, and everything that you're about it's the most powerful tool in the world. So that's why the branding aspect is so important, and you need to be consistent and true to yourself, just like with anything in life. I mean, authenticity sells. In a world of fake, authenticity sells.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you. We're gonna do another interview. I could talk to you for hours. I could listen to you and talk to you for hours. You're just, and I love this quote that you had. I found it somewhere. You said, "If you ever want to be great, deliver with the unexpected." So, and and you said that in the beginning of the interview. It's like finding the kind of spots in the market that isn't being talked to, and then like find a solution. And so I just love your whole journey, and just how got like just going viral over and over and over, and the branding, positioning, and like, so if anyone wants like help or wants to hire Luxe Branding House, can they or is it available? Like,
yes.
where do people go?
Yes, you can go to our website, luxebrandinghouse.com, to check it out, although there's not too much on there. It's best to go to my Instagram, which is the Nomad Fashionista. The reason I am the Nomad Fashionista is because I am a nomad, and secondly, because I live in Nomad, north of Madison Square Park. So that's why that's my name. And through there, in my bio section on the top, there's all the different handles for my different social media pages.
Yeah, I mean, and you do everything from, like you said, like photo shoot, strategy, like you're full service.
Yes. And so, and at Luxe Branding House, which is actually underpinned like it's the Luxe Powerhouse, it's like a whole organization chart of all these different entities, but we do everything here. We have photo shoots for, you can rent the time, you can block the time in blocks. We've got, green screen, white screen. We've got the curved walls. We have different rooms that have different sets. Like right now we have a Renaissance room, for example. We also have a full styling room, a pull room, which like I had, when Britney Spears had my bra. And so not only can designers keep their designs here, but also I've got 20 years of my own personal archives in the pull room. So let's say you're a 24-year-old young woman and you're watching this and you want to get started, you want to create your brand identity through social media, but your budget is $1,000. Well, that would enable you to come here. You could shoot for about 3 to 4 hours. You could go into the pool room and I can fully style you. And so that you have these different looks, and I'm talking like, I have like very nice things I've collected from all over the world, like whether it's Louis Vuitton or Fendi or Gucci or, Alo, like I've got everything. I have a lot of really, really nice stuff. So when it comes to creating a brand, you have to become your brand. Like you have to live and breathe your brand. And so that's very important to create a look. And if you have, $1,000 and you're trying to create a brand and you can't go afford to buy a Fendi bag and 4 other looks, but you can use it at Luxe Branding House and get shot. We have an in-house photography team. We have a full house of all the creators. My creative director is amazing. We have, all the Luxe props, all the chairs. We have over like 50 to 60 chairs that can be used in the photo shoots. We've got it all. So it's really amazing to be in a place to where I've been able to build this over the years and to collaborate and partner with the like-minded individuals to achieve my goal of creating brands, not only for ourselves, but also for others through and helping them minimize their costs in the process. That's what it's all about.
So good, Cal. Yeah, I love
make
that.
money, not lose money.
Yeah. Yeah, and not take advantage. And I mean, like like
exactly.
I love it.
Not taking advantage is transparency, and not taking advantage is so key. Like, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. Like I didn't know. Like I've just, it's only been in the last couple of years where I've really learned, and I had to experience a tremendous amount of pain from being, betrayed in different business scenarios and stuff, to where I was like, oh gosh, this is crazy how people are. So, I really want to be a panacea for others so that they're able to achieve their dreams honestly and without being taken advantage of in the process by all the vultures out there that literally like are predators and prey on people like us.
I love that, Cal. So within closing, thank you so much for your time and your energy. You have dropped so many nuggets. I mean, I would really recommend people, and I always say this, like after interviews, or like go back and listen to this again, like a couple of times, because some of the things you said, like you could really learn, people could really learn about like, from your process, and like just even about the pricing, the margins, like all of what you said. So I would highly recommend people watching this again. And just take notes, right? And reach out to Kelly and like even if you're starting in your career or midway, or even maybe you're already further along and you just need her help or just a full service, please check her out and her brand. And obviously you can tell she's a wealth of knowledge and she knows her stuff. So Kelly, any like last words before we end?
I would say last words would be embrace no. You're going to hear no a lot. Rejection is not necessarily a bad thing. Often it will redirect you to the path that you're meant to be on. It used to be hard for me to hear no. I mean, how many of us have rejection issues? Like most people do, right? But no is actually a good thing. It keeps you on the right course, and it means you need to work harder. It means you need to work smarter. It means whatever it may mean, but what it means is no. So no is no. So what are you going to do about it? And like I've always lived by the quote. Well, actually not always. For about the last 15 years when I learned it, life is all about solving problems and creating memories. You're always doing one or the other. And that's very true. So for me, like, I like to creatively solve problems. That's what I do. If you come to me, regardless of what it is, let's say 5 girls reach out to me via Instagram because let's say one's a single mom, one is a domestic violence survivor, one is trying to get started, one is already started, but you know what? She doesn't know how to get to the next level. And let's say that the fifth one wants to start a brand for her daughter. Whatever the case may be, like, I got you. I will respond. I'm happy to be there for anyone who does reach out to me. I love mentoring and guiding other people in their respective journeys. Thanks for having me.
I love you, Cal. It's so good. So go check her out. And if you have any questions, drop it in the comments below, wherever you're watching. I know we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. And just, follow her on Instagram and send her a DM. And just get into her world. So thank you, Cal, for your time.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Yes. All right. Bye. Thank you so much.